Hey everybody, welcome to So Many Sequels, your book club for movies. I'm Josh.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm David.
It is March. We are in our Oscars month still. The Oscars, of course, happened this year, but we are diving into some of the best blank nominees of the past 94 Oscars. We've talked about... Oh my gosh, David, what was your movie again? Why did I forget it already?
Oh,
we just
Goodfellas.
watched it. Goodfellas. We watch all these movies. Yeah, we watched Goodfellas last week. Go check that out. Later this week, we'll be watching My Pick Network. So get ready for that. And then we will have Garrett's pick, which he has not fully revealed yet, but coming soon, TBD. Keep an eye out for that announcement. Subscribe to the show on YouTube or wherever you get podcasts. You'll get that. Probably on Thursday, the network episode. Let's get into what's just been going on lately, though. Let's catch up on what we've been watching at home or at the movies. You guys been to the movies recently?
Oh,
yeah.
unfortunately not. No.
Same.
We're part of the
There's a
problem.
lot that I gotta get to, man.
I know.
But again, we're in this season where we were just going through before the show, trying to look at like what's coming up, and even still, there's not a ton coming out, and so this is really the dead period where I go, I could go, but I also know that it's going to be on streaming in a few months, and these aren't ones that I want to pay for.
Right.
Yeah,
I
I
feel
thought,
the same way.
and then, any given week, it can sometimes just be a tough time to get out.
Yeah.
I wanted to go on Friday night, but I just kind of got bogged down on a bunch of other stuff. So, yeah.
Well, and
that
look,
sucks.
I mean, I was gonna say, we've hit that time of year where the weather has brightened up and is a little bit nicer. People aren't holed in their houses anymore, but like that's not been really true actually either, because I've seen like there's parts of the country with blizzard warnings of some sort, and then there's like here where we are in Oklahoma, and then like also like a vast area of just the Midwest has been crazy winds and dust storms and stuff, so it's still like it's not nice outside.
No,
No.
sir.
Well,
Yeah.
that's my
What did we
reaction
do?
to this. Just
Yeah.
ugh.
It's not a great
way to
March.
start off on a positive note.
Well, it's the weather's fault.
I know. It's the season.
We literally just got that time change that gave us that extra daylight in the evening, and then daylight said, "Yo, you want daylight in the evening? How about dust? Dust in the evening."
Dust
Dust in the evenings, fires in the
tornadoes,
day,
all that stuff.
tornadoes, blizzards, all of it.
Dust.
Well, but
Yeah.
Oh my
We
gosh. We should have a disaster movie month.
I think we've talked about that
I
idea
need to put
before.
that with
think
my
we've talked
birthday
about
month.
Well, we
To
don't
my
have anything
recognition.
on. I don't think we have
I
anything
got
for
the pin.
April.
I got the pin. Let's not do it during a month where there's typically disasters.
Yeah.
Well,
For us, at least.
yeah.
I guess you can't avoid it. Every month is a disaster season for someone, probably.
Yeah.
But disaster month, or like, it could be like crazy disaster movies, like The Day After Tomorrow type stuff.
Right. Sure. Definitely.
Not Apocalypse. Armageddon, that's what I was trying to say. Armageddon.
Anyway.
Yeah. But, I watched a new to streaming movie. David, you put in our notes that you watched it too, which is that new Hugh Grant, John Heretic,
Yeah.
where Hugh Grant plays a very creepy man who is visited by two young Mormon missionaries, and creepy unfolds. I don't want to spoil it because it is new to streaming, so people might just be able to watch it now. But what did you think of it, David? You're less keen on horror, so I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Well, I thought it was really good. And it's a movie where more time passes than you realize. We had to pause at one point without going, "Oh, movie's halfway over," and it didn't feel like we were that far. It genuinely felt like it was flowing really well. Hugh Grant, I mean, he's in the best half of his career as far as I'm concerned, because this was another just dynamic performance. Something I said to my wife, and she said something to a similar vein, is that Hugh Grant is so confident in like every line delivery he gives, even when he's like that stammering or that like weird kind of stuff. Like everything sounds so crisp. He is hard to look away from this movie. He's captivating. And I've loved these last few years with Hugh Grant. And I would have never thought that Notting Hill, is it Notting Hill or whatever, like rom-com Hugh Grant, I would have never thought he would be such a great supervillain. Like, it's the kind of classic joke of like Hugh Grant could do Hannibal Lecter. I'm not sure if Anthony Hopkins could do some of those Hugh Grant rom-coms or not. But Hugh's got the range. He's very creepy in this, and also, and not to undermine, but the actresses in this, whose names I didn't memorize, they're really great in this as well. Like, it's a great round of performances.
Yeah, I agree. Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East are the two sisters in the movie. I saw Zoe. Oh my gosh, I saw Sophie Thatcher in Companion a month or so ago. So I think that was the first time I saw her. So I was like, oh, it's her. She was good. And then also, as a bit of a, I don't know if you call it a cameo, but like Topher Grace is in it.
Yeah, Topher Grace is in it for,
I know.
Like,
those eyes
almost
you made,
unrecognizable?
Garrett, are the correct response, because like it took like his second appearance maybe for me to go, I think that is Topher Grace.
Yeah, I looked at him and I was like,
it is
truly
truly
that Topher Grace?
It's truly that low key. But anyway, yeah, I thought it was really an interesting story. He basically, again, without trying to spoil it too much, Hugh Grant kind of plays, or he wants to play, like this really like elaborate devil's advocate to these missionaries who, the story of any missionary, they go around and their goal is to spread the word of their religion and talk about the church, the Mormon church. And he's like, I want to debate you. Mm-hmm. And it goes into nightmare mode from there. And I like that. It doesn't, I thought the ending could have been better. It wasn't the best ending I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. But overall, I really liked it. It was a 4-star movie for me. You should watch it, Garrett. It's on Max.
I'm intrigued. I've seen it. Oh, yeah. What was your score, Dave?
I was going to say I gave it 3.5. Oh, you said you'd already, you saw it last year. I gave it 3.5.
No,
I
haven't seen this one.
Oh, okay.
No. I'm very interested, though, because I do think that, again, going back to just Hugh Grant and his turn, I mean, that's what he had to do at some point in time. Otherwise, people see him as just rom-com, and he has clearly shown that he can.
And he's kind of aged out of rom-com.
Yeah, and so good for him. I'm very excited to see where he goes. I'm going to jump into that because I didn't know much about Heretic. Mm-hmm. So you saying that it had some Mormon followers there. I just finished up American Primeval on Netflix. Have you guys heard of this or watched this? Do you know about it?
Yeah, I think Josh, you brought this up a few weeks ago too.
I did. I started it, and you know what? I actually don't know that I finished it. It was my fault.
It's a series.
Yeah. It is a limited series on Netflix. There's like 6 episodes, I think. It's got Taylor Kittich. I don't know if I said that right. Betty Gilpin, and then Shea Wiggum is in there, and there's some other people here and there that you recognize. But it takes place in the westward expansion as the Mormons. It really heavily focuses on Mormons and Brigham Young, who is the governor of Utah at this point in time, along with people who are moving west and moving into indigenous people's territory. And so that conflict's there. And there's a whole lot of drama that's going on, but it is a lot of stuff and a part of history that I just don't know about. And so it was really interesting to learn some of that. And it's also pretty brutal. It's really violent. It doesn't glorify a lot of the westward expansion. I mean, it shows you some devastating stuff. I'm talking you get to see up close somebody get scalped, and it is intense. It's not great. And so it's pretty heavy, but it was a really good watch. And so I would recommend, Josh, if you get a chance to finish it too, because it was a pretty intense ride, but it was really good.
So
a lot of strong performances. Between
that and The Pit, are you just trying to confront your body horror problem head on?
The Pit is... Yeah, that's a good question. The Pit is a lot more difficult because that's real and it feels real, right? It could be real. It's fake, but it could be real. What is happening in there? Yeah, it was real, but it ain't happening now. Well, it might be happening, but I can tell that's fake, so it doesn't hit me as hard.
Okay, yeah, I do need to finish that. I say that because we talked about The Pit last week. I'm still catching up, and I'm getting closer but I just watched Dr. Robbie drain that kid's eye.
Didn't watch that part. Didn't watch it. No, I was like ready for it.
I knew
blocked
it.
it.
I knew it because I was like,
I can't do
it has
eye
an eye
stuff.
thing, and it's already like it was. I was watching it like this.
No.
Yeah, that's a good show. You guys
Couldn't
should
do
watch The Pit, also on
great.
Max. Okay, and Primeval, American Primeval is on Netflix. What about that new episode, Daredevil? I still haven't gotten to it, but you watched it.
That's a good question. I did. You know, this is tough because I really try not to compare things when it comes to like reboots and relaunches, but this one's difficult because they have all of the same people, and so it's and they follow the same arc. It's definitely toned down. Obviously, it's on Disney Plus. David, you had mentioned the fight scenes in some of them, and I'm gonna rewatch the first episode, but to me, that very first fight, it seemed really heavily CG. There was so much like mist and fog
Artificial
the way it was
smoke.
shot.
Yeah.
It didn't seem real, and so it took away some of that because then then it becomes like me trying or not trying to, but like remembering how amazing the choreography and stunt fighting was in the Netflix one, and so it doesn't take away from it, right? It is something different, and so I'm giving it credit for something different. It's not as good, but I think that it can be. I think that it will probably get better with each episode too.
I agree. And I don't think there's much fighting in episode 2, but it'll be interesting because that first fight that they do, I feel like there's like a weird amount of like artificial smoke. It's clearly not like real smoke.
It was weird.
It kind of gets better as they get into the stairwell. No spoilers there, but it's kind of what I appreciate is I feel like they're kind of trying to go for the same dramatic tone, and you get a little bit more of that in episodes 2 and 3. There's a lot more just of that conversation aspect that the first series had, because like series had great choreography, but it also had these things where you'd like have characters just talk for like 5-10 minutes of just long talk, and so there was a little bit of that. And they are there's a short fight sequence towards the end of episode 2 that I think is much more in line with the old show. I feel like that first fight sequence may be a little bit something they added to late in production, and I'm hoping that as the series goes on they can get more, because I think that's a big thing is Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio talked about how they are now, like, I think they're both EPs on it now, and they're really trying to push to get that original tone and style back as much as they can, and now that they've already greenlit it for another season, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think it's better than some of the other stuff recently.
Yeah. Josh, you
Deal,
have
I'll
also
get to
been
it.
spending some time on the Netflix. You watched the John Mulaney's Netflix show.
Yeah, it's Everybody's Live with John Mulaney. You guys may remember at some point last year he did a similar thing called Everybody's in LA. And he opens this show with a joke saying it's basically that was like a test for this, and they changed it to Everybody's Live because they tested it multiple times and everybody like hated the title. They're like, no. People like specifically hated LA.
Yeah.
They were like, don't call it
Well,
that.
listen, I don't want to hear what the people who live in LA have to say. I don't. There's too. Nah, I don't.
But
give a shit.
let me describe to you how weird this show was. So it's basically a talk show. He brings out a panel of guests. There's a monologue. Richard Kind is his announcer in studio.
Beautiful. Love that.
And there's some like video sketches they throw to. Each episode, he says, will have a theme, and this episode's theme was loaning money to people. And they take live calls throughout the night from people you can call in, and they are giving advice. They're giving financial advice to people, and John gives like a disclaimer that they can't give financial advice, then they do it. But the panel was John Mulaney, folk icon Joan Baez.
Oh.
Yeah. Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
A
that's the wrong
single
one.
real financial advisor. And Fred Armisen.
He's smart. He got a lot of money.
And they just give people advice on how to get money back from people, how to loan people money. It was really ridiculous. I don't know if it's
Interesting.
I don't know if it's something I'd watch every week, but it almost had like probably the closest thing that Netflix could ever get to feeling like this feels like a weird underground like public access thing almost, but on Netflix.
Interesting.
It's weird.
Okay.
So that's Everybody's Live with John Mulaney. Interesting time for interesting time for TV and streaming.
Yeah.
I wanted to touch briefly on this because it's exciting. We like Nikki Glaser, and she, the People's Roast Master, I think she should be dubbed.
Yes.
Is going to return as the Golden Globes host in 2026. She got rave reviews for her stint at hosting this past year's ceremony. She was also the first woman to host solo, which I honestly did not realize at the time.
No.
Yeah, Tina Fey and Amy Poehler co-hosted in the past.
They always did it together.
But Nikki is the first solo host. So that's cool. And she'll be back next year. Very cool.
Technically, one of her jokes made it to the Oscars.
That's true. And I if you're fans of Nikki and Conan, you know that like Nikki's a huge weird fan of his. Mm-hmm. And I have this fantasy in my head where like Nikki Glaser hosts the Golden Globes and Conan hosts the Oscars, and they both just do that forever. And they both just like, because I love them both. Yeah. And they can both do it opposite each other.
I see no reason that actually can't happen. Right. Because listen,
people love
Conan
them both.
Was a success. Conan was a successful host. He did it well. He is someone who you can rely on to do weird stuff. Yeah, he's got no controversies. He can be self-deprecating. He can be able to come up with weird things that are just like crazy funny for no real reason. And it can just be goofy. It doesn't have to be anything fun. And then Nikki Glaser does a good job of taking what Ricky Gervais initially did, but she's just better at it. I mean, she knows how to deliver roasts, and that is what the Golden Globes is for. So I think that if they continue to use those as hosts, those are really good choices, honestly.
I think so. And they fit the like vibe of each of those shows. The Globes, people like want them to make fun of it at the same time. It's because it's more of a party vibe. You know, the stars they're drinking. It is more self-congratulatory and stupid, and the Oscars is more like focused on it. You know, the people you don't always see in front of the camera is the people who get the most awards these nights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's more Conan's chick. So I love it. Do it.
Yeah,
why, but it won't happen, and that's why, because it's a good idea.
And then cameo on each other's things. Like Conan shows up at the Golden Globes and he goes, "What?" And she goes, "You're early, Conan," and he's like, "Ah," and then he leaves.
I like it.
I don't know.
All right, well, that's something to look forward to. One reason to look forward to the Golden Globes, at least, is to see a couple hours of Nikki Glaser jokes.
2026 is going to be a banger year. I'm going to tell.
Maybe. All right, David, hit us with the latest box office recap of the week. What's it been looking like since didn't contribute?
We didn't contribute. We're part of the problem.
Rough.
Well, 2 weeks ago, I believe, we talked about the worst box office weekend of the year, and we said, so far, well, if these numbers hold up, this will be the worst movie weekend of the year when you combine all the movies together. We had 3 debuting films this weekend. Novocaine debuted to number 1 with 8.7 million, so not a very high finish there. Mickey 17 dropped to 7.5 million in its second weekend. Black Bag, starring Michael Fassbender, brought in 7.5. Captain America: Brave New World in its fourth weekend, I believe, brought in 5.4 million. And The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie, rounds out the top 5 with 3.1 million. Anyway, Opus, the new A24 film, Opus, debuted at number 12 with 1.7 million. And Anora, this is a good. Anora, fresh off its Oscar win, has now crossed $50 million at its global total, with another $640,000 this weekend. So collectively, this is something that somebody else pointed out this weekend. Collectively, these 4 new movies, people talk about wanting to have new movies and not just IP stuff. These 4 new movies, Opus, The Day the Earth Blew Up, Black Bag, Novocaine, all of those combined made less than Captain America's Day One. So it's kind of an unfortunate sign that, you know, people ask for these new movies, but they don't go see these new movies as much as
Here's the deal.
They claim to want to.
Looks very interesting, but it also looks like a rehashed version of a movie that I've seen already. So, like, It looks like Nobody. It looks like Bullet Train. It looks like all of these different things that are kind of all in the same genre at this point in time. So, like, yes, it's a new movie, but
it's not.
New. It's not new. Just because Jack Quaid's in it doesn't make it different.
Well, there you go.
It really is just another.
Any more Jack Quaid movies?
Yeah, no, it's just another Marvel movie.
Nothing against Jack Quaid. He's pretty good.
I wouldn't even say it's a Marvel movie. I feel like it's more like in that John Wick universe.
Of these movies,
types.
the only
Exactly.
one of this on this list I'm actually super interested in seeing now that beyond what we've already talked about, Mickey 17 and all that, is the Looney Tunes movie, because it's, I think, probably the only time I'll ever see a Looney Tunes movie in theaters.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And it's a real opportunity for us to make Warner Brothers believe that Coyote movie would have done well, that everybody got upset about.
It's I saw that it's the first fully animated Looney Tunes movie made for cinemas, and it'd probably be the last.
Probably be the last. And I don't think they did a great job with marketing on any of these.
I didn't even know it was out.
I haven't seen a single trailer
and
for
it's
it.
the third weekend in March, so what do you expect? I am kind of interested in that Black Bag movie. It's a Steven Soderbergh film, and it might be a cool guys, cool crime scenario.
Yeah.
So,
I
anyway,
want to see Opus.
Yeah, I want to see Opus too, and Black Bag.
it's got all of those have really good reviews across Letterboxd that I've seen so far. So anyway, that is your box office rundown for March, third weekend of March.
Sweet. Go see movies when they come out, if they look good to you.
And that goes for us too, unfortunately.
It does. Yeah. Unfortunately, also it means that when a Looney Tunes movie comes out, you might have to be proactive and search out new trailers, because
and this might
Who knew
end
that
up
was
being a
coming?
good. These movies might end up getting a little bit more going on, because at least in some parts of the state, we're heading into spring break weekend or spring break week, so more time.
Teenagers are going to go
for
see Novocaine for sure.
Yeah, here we go.
They got nothing else to do.
and Looney Tunes. All right. Like we said at the start of the show, we are doing Oscar Best Blank Months. Maybe that's what we should have called it, Best Blank Month.
Ooh, I like that.
Fill in your category in the blank. So we've got Network.
Write it down, producer.
We've got Network coming up later this week, and then we will close out with Garrett's pick of the month the week after that. So stay tuned. Subscribe on YouTube or on Spotify for the videos, or wherever you get podcasts for the podcast version of the show. You can go to somanysequels.com and find all those links, as well as our social media channels and our past episodes, and other things. You can contact us there too. There's a email form. There's all kinds of fun stuff. Go check that out. Remember websites? It used to be that we didn't just go on 4 apps and be done. There were websites.
Yeah.
And you can go to other places on the web. It's an idea. Go
Get
there.
off your socials.
Get off your socials and go to where the people are. I want to see where the people are. I'm just going. Yep, that was everything. Okay, well, that's it for today. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.